Producer Eamon Khan here for Jukebox with Duke McKenzie, MBE, former three-weight world champion. We're reacting to the news now that it's official. Tyson Fury is returning to the ring on Netflix in April against Arslan Madrimov. It's one of the fights that have been talked about behind the scenes for a while. We knew that this was, or Madrimov was one of the front runners for the fight, but now the fight is finalized. Duke, what's your feelings on that fight?
Yeah, thank God. Thank God. All right, they got an opponent and he's back in the game. So, yeah, it's on. It's on. I mean, listen, if nothing else, he brings eyes to the prize, right? You know, he brings eyes to the sport of boxing. Fury, he's been out for a while now, so he's got to come back, try and prove himself, see what he's got left in the tank, see what Madrimov has got in the tank. I mean, you know, it's the perfect comeback fight, isn't it? You know, the stage is set, isn't it, for his return. He should go in there and smash this guy to pieces. So, you know, and look good doing it. Does that tell us anything about Tyson Fury? You know, listen, Madrimov ain't no world beater, but it's the perfect comeback fight. It is the perfect comeback fight. Doesn't want a tough fight, does he?
You reading a little bit between the lines here, Duke, are you a little bit underwhelmed by the fight?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's not. You know, listen, we're talking about a former world champion, and I know every champion that gets beat is a former champion, and they deserve a soft touch for their first fight back in the game. So this is the perfect soft touch for him.
When it comes to Tyson Fury and his style, when you get on in age, for heavyweights tend to last a bit longer with their careers, but talk about him when speaking to his dad, John, about him returning to the herky-jerky style, which won him the world title in the first place. But now, as he gets on in age, heading towards the latter stages of his career, do you think he can return to that sort of style? What will be the difficulties he'll face in this return, in this phase of his career?
Well, it's going to be more probably psychological. Sorry, it'll be just as much psychological as it will be physical. Because obviously, I mean, the fight's not till April, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got plenty of time to shift the weight, get yourself in tip-top shape if he's really serious about making an assault on the World Heavyweight Championship again. So if he can tick that box, then it becomes more of a psychological battle that he faces, because it's, you know, we ain't looking at the Tyson Fury of old, the guy that beat the Klitschko, went over to his backyard, spanked him. We're not looking at that guy anymore. And those fights that you had against Usyk would have taken a tremendous amount out of him. So in reality, we don't really know what Tyson Fury is going to show up. Obviously, the man's got the gift of the gab and he can sell the fight, but we don't know. We won't know until fight night what Tyson Fury is going to turn up, and if he can actually go out there and, you know, as you said, turn back the clock.
What sort of version of Fury do you prefer? Do you like the version of Fury that's a bit heavier, looking for knockout? Do you like him a bit lighter? Do you think he's better, lighter around the? I'm just pulling up his box rec and his former weights here, talking around 281 pounds, 262 pounds. Those are the weights he weighed in for the last Usyk fight. The last one was 281. The one before that was 262. Around that sort of weight, which do you think he operates better at? Which do you think he shows a better version of himself at?
I think probably the 262 mark for him. I mean, you know, he's a unit. He's a big man. So, you know, but he has to be lighter as opposed to heavier. You know, I mean, heavyweights are heavy for a reason, obviously, but you don't want to carry too much weight. So his fighting weight, a good fighting weight for him, which I thought he looked half decent in the first Usyk fight, the 260 mark. You know, then he's going to be nice and sharp. If he comes in at the 280 or even maybe bigger than that, because he, you know, we don't know if he can get motivated for this fight. You know, this isn't Usyk he's fighting. It's not AJ he's fighting. It's a comeback fight. And when you've won a world title, then you've lost your world title, as I have. The comeback fight's always the worst one, because it's hard to get yourself up mentally, psychologically. You get yourself into that headspace where, you know you're not fighting the big boys. You know you should wipe the floor with this guy, the guy that, you know, the comeback fight. He should wipe the floor with Madrimov. But if he's not right in his head, if his concentration levels aren't where they should be, and he hasn't put in his shift in the gym. It's okay saying, you know, I got about 4 months until the fight, and I've got plenty of time. But you got to get on with it. You got to get yourself out running. You got to get yourself back in the gym. You got to get the sparring going. You got to get you got to start doing your little tick box. Put all the pieces back to the jigsaw and see what works. Now, you know, he's older now. He hasn't boxed in just over a year. For this fight, a year is a long time in anybody's career. It normally hurts fighters when they have that amount of time off. Sure, there's 1 or 2 fighters that have had, you know, like that sort of time off and come back and look sensational. But, you know, Fury's had his fair share of fights now. You know, there's miles on his clock. So, you know, physically and mentally, there's miles on that clock. So we have to really hope, for his sake, he can turn back the clock.
You said there about motivation that lacks in a comeback fight. I know that you'll obviously have your family and your team around you to get you motivated for that comeback fight. Similar in the same sort of way that Tyson Fury would have the same, but when it came down to it in your career, what really got you motivated for that comeback fight? How did you get out of that feeling of maybe this fight wasn't like the ones before?
Well, you know, it's a kind of a double-edged sword, really, because, you know, obviously you got your family around you and the people that really know you, you know, trying to push you, trying to motivate you. I mean, as I said before, my brother Dudley was my motivator. I mean, that man ticked so many boxes for me, and that's why I just continue to talk about him, because my brother would turn up at my house at 5 o'clock in the morning, and when I'm still in bed, and then knock on the door and get me out running. Do you see what I mean? And then he'd literally be at my house last thing at night, making sure I was going to bed and getting the right sort of sleep, and, you know, that sort of thing. I'm not saying Fury needs that. He doesn't need nobody to hold his hand, because he's been in the sport for long enough now, and he knows the game. But like I say, it's going to be how can he motivate himself for Madrimov? You know, it might take a smack in the mouth. It might take Madrimov to give him that wake up call, catch him with a shot, and all of a sudden you get the wake up call, and then he's back in the game. But then that could be too late. You can't wait till you get hit and then respond from that. Can I just let Trevor out? Sorry.
Can you explain to me, Duke, as well, this idea or how it happens that a fighter can fight below the level that they operate at their best? So this whole notion that Tyson Fury fights down to the level of his opponents with respect to Arslanbek Makhmudov, he isn't an Alexander Usyk, he isn't one of the top heavyweights of the division, a good opponent nonetheless, but not one of the top heavyweights division. Why would a fighter, an elite level fighter, or how does an elite level fighter drop their levels so drastically in fights where they end up struggling in fights like Fury has done in the past?
You know, it's something you really can't explain. I don't even know, excuse me, why it happens. Because you would have thought, as it's happened in my career, after losing my first world title, my first couple of fights, I'm sure they were shocking. You know, it's hard. You say to yourself, you know, I'm getting up and doing my runs. I'm going to bed early. I'm making weight, A, B, C, D, whatever the situation is. It's hard to motivate yourself. And another thing, you know, sometimes the money's not the same. And, you know, I'm not saying, you know, sometimes the money's not the same. You are driven by money and, you know, how much you're getting. And let's just say you're getting a 6-figure, 7-figure purse for a fight, a world title fight, as Fury has been. And now he's fighting in a comeback fight, and now he's only maybe getting 4 figures or 5 figures. Do you see what I mean? You know, there's a big drop in excuse me, in wages, and that can often leave you deflated. So you know, there's whole circumstances. There's a lot of different circumstances that go around to you losing that psychological edge.
Could you say from the fights you have seen of Makhmudov, maybe against the likes of Dave Allen or against the likes of Ajit Kablia, what issues Tyson Fury may face in the ring? What might Makhmudov pose to him that might be of a threat?
Well, he's the guy's massive, isn't he? Madrimov, he's as big as Fury, maybe height-wise, maybe a couple of inches shorter. So now Fury's going to find himself not jabbing down to opponents like he did in the Usyk fight, but actually maybe jabbing on the same level and throwing shots on the same level. So if he can hit Madrimov, that means Madrimov can hit him. And Madrimov doesn't need an incentive for this fight. He's fighting Tyson Fury, the former heavyweight champion of the world. So this is his golden ticket. All right. He won his last fight against Dave Allen, Madrimov, but there was one or two little shaky moments in there early on where he didn't look great. But you know what? He showed a lot of character in that fight, and he had to do what was needed to be done to get the victory. Right, he's come out a winner. So now he's saying to himself, I've got to step up another level now because I'm fighting a former world champion. Easy for Madrimov to do that as opposed to Fury to do that. The motivation's there for Madrimov, but I'm not so sure. We won't know until fight night if the motivation's there for Fury.
There was a post that Sky Sports put out. They asked before, of course, Madrimov was confirmed who the best option for Tyson Fury would be for that comeback fight. They listed a number of names, including Madrimov. A rumored Andrew Ruiz was on there as well too. Jarrell Miller, who's fighting this weekend, was on there. Agron Smakitsi, who was a former Tyson Fury sparring partner, the one that actually caused the cut that delayed the first Fury and Usyk fight. Justice Hooney, who we saw recently against Fabio Warley, an American heavyweight called Brandon Moore as well too. Of those names, outside of course Magmadov, who does have the fight now, would there be one that you prefer from that list of Fort Fury in the comeback fight?
Maybe Miller, maybe that Miller guy. He's not really a mover and a shaker. He'd make Tyson Fury look good because he just stands there, doesn't he? And Fury could just have his way with him and look pretty decent because there's not a lot coming back from him. So, but yeah, maybe Miller. But yeah, I mean, listen, Madrimov is the perfect choice. If his name was still on that list, then he would be the perfect choice for Fury, and he's the right man to be coming back with.
So with that all said then, Duke, how does the fight materialize? Can you say or predict when the fight does end?
I mean, I guess it'll be scheduled for 10, I would imagine. It's not a championship fight, so it'll be scheduled for 10. And I think Madrimov, for the first probably 4 rounds, he should be quite a live one. And, might even get 1 or 2 little shocks along the way. But you would expect Fury, with his vast experience, he can fiddle, we can mess him around, make him look a little bit pedestrian, and if you will, because again, we don't know what Fury's got in the tank. We don't know how he's going to set his stall out. Sometimes he can look quite lively. He flicks out some nice jabs. There's lots of movement, lots of feints, that sort of thing, which Madrimov won't be used to. And I mean, you would expect Fury to win. It would be far more beneficial. I know we've heard it before, but right now, Fury doesn't need to go like 8-10 rounds in a drawn-out fight. It'd be good for him if he could get maybe just 3 or 4 rounds under his belt, and then stop this guy about the halfway mark. Doesn't need a long 10-round fight. It's not about getting the miles in. Getting the rounds in. He doesn't need to get rounds under his belt. Just needs to get his name out there again, get active again. Smash this guy to pieces, look good doing it. That boosts his stock, and then, I mean, again, if it was me, I'd get him another one. I'd get him two or 3 like that. But I don't think they will do that. They'll probably get him a world title fight after this one. Not looking past Madrimov, you understand, but that should be, if that's the way they was going to do it, then that's what you would expect. It'd be Madrimov and then a big fight.
So you think Fury should have a couple or maybe 3 before he takes on an Usyk again or a Wardley?
At least 2 or 3, at least. This one to get the confidence back. Then they need a slightly better class of opponent to get some rounds under his belt against a world-ranked heavyweight, and then make an assault on the heavyweight championship of the world.
Hey, Duke, I appreciate that. Of course, you've had a fun day as well. You were saying to me, Trevor's had a bit of a play as well today.
Oh yeah, me and my boy Trevor. I've had a great day today actually because I got home early from the gym, and he was waiting for me by the door. He had his feet up. I saw him as I was coming up the hallway, and he had his feet up. He was sitting like that, waiting for me. Like, Dad, where you been? Yeah, I think I'm joking. The dog's becoming more and more humanised every day. He's not a dog; he's a family member. So we've had a great day. We've been out and done some lovely walks today because I don't really walk him as far as I did today, but the sun was shining and I was sort of feeling it because I had a great run this morning, man. I did an 8K this morning. I haven't done one of them for a while, and but I was buzzing because, like I say, the sun was shining. So I did my run, come back, and then we had a great morning. Then we had breakfast together. So it's all good.
Have you seen them AI dogs, Duke? What do you think of them?
Have I seen?
AI dogs.
Oh no! Listen, you got no. Listen, I'm a realist. I like a proper canine. That's like the robot we saw in Dubai, right? That was off the Richter scale. Now, listen, you can't really cuddle an AI dog, can you?
Well, I suppose you can't be quite cold, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And they're not going to be no fun. They don't sleep on the bed. They don't keep your feet warm, do they?
Duke, pleasure speaking to you. Looking forward to the next conversation as well, too. And
Thanks,
keep tuned into Jukebox.